Hi, I'm Jay, welcome to the workshop, and today we're going to be talking about the different types of weight limits for your Overland vehicle. So, we're doing this off the back of the other video that we did about roof rack limits, explaining static versus dynamic loads, how much weight, etc, etc. If you want to watch that, that'll be up here somewhere for you to enjoy. But after that video we had a couple of people wanting to know what the other vehicle ratings were. You hear a lot of these things tossed around, especially by car manufacturers. Curbs weights, train weights, maximum gross vehicle weight, all this kind of stuff. And it's all very important to consider, especially when you're adding accessories to your Overland vehicle. First of all, we're going to explain all the different terminology, or the different ratings, sorry, that you'll hear being thrown around, what exactly they mean and exactly what they affect and how they affect you. Okay, first up is curb weight. Curb weight is very often used in the manufacturer's specifications, and to put simply, it is the total weight of the vehicle, including fluids, i.e. oil, coolant, brake fluid, all that kind of stuff. Sometimes including a full tank of fuel, but that's something you have to check out. But most importantly, that means no cargo, no passengers. If your vehicle comes with add-on accessories from the manufacturer, like tow bars, extra bits of body kits, stuff like that, this might also be added in on the total curb weight. So next up is unladen weight. Now unladen can vary between manufacturers of what this actually means. Some manufacturers, when they say unladen weight, they mean the same as curb weight, so just to recap, it's the weight of the vehicle with fluids in it. However, sometimes they use this unladen weight rating when you're talking about the vehicle without fluids, so we're literally talking about a vehicle which has just been shipped, it's got no oil in it, it's got no fluids, it's got no coolant. This is not a very helpful rating to have. The only time that might come into play is the initial transportation of the vehicle from the factory to the country where it's going to be sold. Maybe they don't put the fluids in to try and keep the weight down, but as Overlanders, unladen weight in the aspect of no fluids in it is not very helpful for us. So unless they mean unladen weight the same as curb weight, just disregard the unladen weight rating whatsoever. Now, the unladen and the curb weight is quite critical to understand, because as you'll see next, to get one of our capacities we need to minus that curb weight from the max gross weight. Now the max gross weight is the one that you really need to know. Sometimes abbreviated to MGVWR, or max gross vehicle weight rating. This is the maximum payload, your vehicle can weigh, including fluids, cargo, passengers, and obviously the weight of the vehicle. Now, again, this rating is crucial. If you are pulled over because it looks like your vehicle is overweight, and they ask you to weigh the vehicle on a public weighbridge, and you're found to be over this MGVWR, or max gross rating is it's abbreviated sometimes, you will be A, breaking the law, and B, invalidating your insurance. So this is the one that Overlanders tend to be in breach of, because it's very, very easy once you've got your winch bumpers on, your roof rack, your roof tent, your fridge, all your extra fuel you're carrying. It adds up very, very quickly. We ourselves have fallen victim to overloading, and we're currently in the progress of reducing that kit. What we quickly realised is went on these trips. Granted, not to far away foreign countries, but half of it, and I mean a good half of it, wasn't touched. So all that weight was sitting there doing nothing, especially spares and tools. I was quite paranoid. I wanted to bring every single tool I had with me, which for the first couple of trips I did. And I quickly realised, having to do a couple of on-the-spot repairs, that again, a good half, if not 75% of the stuff I took with me, I'm never going to use. So we took a step back, reconfigured our kit to be Hilux specific, plus with the spares as well. Took all the oils out of it that we would never need, and yeah, managed to get our weight down. Now, how do you know how much you can put on? You know, all these manufacturers that you're ordering equipment from gives the weight ratings usually on the specifications. So how can you tell without having access to a weighbridge that you're putting on too much weight? Now this is where payload rating comes in. Payload, very simply put, is the unladen weight or the curb weight, mainly the curb weight, taken away from the maximum gross weight of your vehicle. So take the Hilux for example. I don't know exact figures off the top of my head, but I believe last time I looked, a maximum payload capacity for a Hilux of my model was 2.8 tons. Now the curb weight of a Hilux, so Hilux sat on the side of the road with everything it needs ready to be turn the key, start the engine, so fluids, coolant, all that kind of stuff, but with no cargo or people in it. For example, let's just say 1.8 tons. Okay. Now if we subtract 1.8 from 2.8, we get 1 ton of potential payload capacity. Now that doesn't take into account passengers. So say average person, let's say 75 kilos. So from that 1 ton payload capacity, we need to subtract 150 kilos. So in theory, cargo space wise, all we have left now is 850 kilos. Remember, that includes any accessories you've installed yourself. So again, going back to winch bumpers, a winch bumper with a winch in it, a fully steel one, could weigh 250 kilos. So you can see how this payload capacity quickly dwindles. Now the one last thing I want to talk about before I move on to the final subject is there be most likely going to be one more rating when it comes to your manufacturer specifications, and that would be max gross train limit. Now the train limit is basically how much your vehicle will weigh plus a trailer. Okay, so your 2.8 tons of the max gross weight of the vehicle itself, plus whatever maximum weight of a trailer that vehicle can carry. Now again, this is important to know if you are regularly towing a trailer, because over a certain weight limit, train weight limit, you may be required in some countries to run a tachograph. So as I don't know very much about that subject, I'm not going to go into that. I'm sure there's other people on the internet or even YouTube that could probably give you some better information on that. But the last thing I want to cover before we go is what can you do about this rating? Because you might have already packed your vehicle up and go, look, I can't make this any lighter, but I'm still overweight. Is there something I can do? And how to actually find out where these ratings are printed on your user manual on the car. Now, if you're looking to upgrade your maximum gross weight, which is possible. There is people up there that do uprating services. Now, these people make certain changes to your vehicle, mainly heavy duty suspension, bigger brakes, maybe even reinforcing the chassis, which then is officially certified by the whatever governing body in your country looks after vehicle standards, and officially that vehicle is then able to carry the extra weight. However, this is a very costly process. Like I said before, a lot of components need changing, possibly even engine improvements as well to deal with the extra weight in the vehicle. So it's much easier to try and scale back on the weight rather than uprating the vehicle to the weight that you want to carry. So, last thing to do is how to find your vehicle's weight ratings. Now, like I said before, manufacturers will most likely have them on their websites. Now, if you've got quite an old vehicle, chances are the official manufacturer's website won't list them anymore. You can find them on certain review sites which have done a review of the vehicle. They usually put the specifications up, or even enthusiast sites might be able to give you the answer. However, a more accurate and dependable way of finding out is either looking in your user's manual. In the back, usually there's a specification section which will give you the engine capacity or the fluid capacities, all that kind of stuff, and there should be a section on weights and measurements, which will give you the overall length, width. It should also give you these weight limits that I'm talking about today. Also, some vehicles, mainly the more commercial orientated ones like the pickups and some of the vans even, will have a actual information plate, or sometimes referred to as a data plate, on the door shut on the outside of the vehicle somewhere, which will give you Unladen / Kurb weight, maximum gross weight, and even some of the axle ratings, which is important when you're actually figuring out the load distribution on the vehicle. Now, just before I go, I just want to say this information is all correct for the UK. In America and certain other countries, the max gross weight is sometimes referred to as MAM, maximum authorized mass. You might hear that thrown around sometimes. In other countries it might be given different names. So when in doubt, just research the actual specifications in your country, and bear in mind as well, just because your vehicle can carry 4 or 5 tons, for example, just as an example, if you're going for one of the bigger trucks, doesn't mean your license is appropriate for that vehicle. In the UK, a normal Cat B license for a road-going passenger vehicle, i.e. a small car, is got a maximum authorized mass or a maximum gross of 3.5 tons. So just because your vehicle's rated higher than that, you still could be pulled over and be in breach of your actual license requirements. So keep all that in mind when you're planning an overland vehicle. Yeah, and hopefully you enjoyed it. Leave a comment below if you have any more questions about this. I can possibly help you out. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up and like it. It gives me a bit of feedback and know that we're doing alright. And if you want more content like this, please hit the subscribe button as well, because that means you get these videos quicker and you keep up to date with everything that's going on. So until then, see you there.